Hey everyone, this is a little bit of a different video. We're talking about our first time homebuyer market update. It's February 17th. One of the things that I want to talk about this week that's apparent to me is it's this question of have you missed the boat if you're a first time homebuyer, and especially regarding condos. I think anyone who has known me has known I've been kind of screaming from the rooftops for the last several months, really, that condos are on sale. And if you're a first time homebuyer or an investor, it's really a great opportunity for you. And we're definitely seeing some signs that that's changing. And this is a really fun and interesting part of the market. So I want to go ahead and get started here. My name is Stephen Meade. I'm the broker owner here at Domicile Real Estate. Here in Southern California, we're out of Long Beach, service Orange County, LA County, parts of San Diego County. But I want to get into it and talk about the stats for first-time homebuyers, because our idea has always been to make a video that is actionable, something that gives you knowledge, expertise, perspective, something that helps you make better decisions. There's information in the comments, but I want to go ahead and talk just a little bit about where we are in that entry-level end of the market, because one of the things you find in the Southern California market is that oftentimes the way things are at the entry-level end of the market are not the same is the way they are in the middle or the high end of the market, which is why we started doing these videos in the first place, was to really give a separate sense of perspective for buyers at that entry level end of the market. So the first thing that I want to talk about is closed pricing. So if you're looking here on the chart, obviously our blue line is entry level single family homes. These are detached. Entry level condos, which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, that is attached. And this is the first quartile. And basically, we wanted to create something that felt like the beginning end of the market. And the way we did that is instead of looking at the median home price, right, which is what is frequently quoted in all sorts of publications, right? Instead of doing that, we thought, let's place two restrictions on that. Number one, instead of making it the median, what if we did something that was more towards the bottom of the price range, right? And so what we did is we did what's called a quartile. And that's sort of, if a median is halfway, a quartile is 1/4 of the way from the bottom. So that means in our category, 3/4 of the homes will be more expensive and 1/4 of the homes will be cheaper. So we're tracking that price metric. The second thing that we did is we wanted to divide this up into two very specific product categories. The first is a detached 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. That's our entry level home. And then a 2-bedroom, 2-bath attached property. And that is our entry level condo. I think these are both much more realistic fences to put around the market if you're an entry level buyer. And this is a composite of Los Angeles and Orange counties. So if you take a look at this on these closed prices, we're actually seeing a little bit of softness on the single family home market with a 780 closing price. But look at the rebound we've seen on the condos by that red line. That rebound is actually up from 505,000 to 550,000. And I think a big part of that is that condo market is starting to wake up, and we're seeing the distance, right? The spread between the single family homes and the condos is narrowing to some degree. I think we might have a little bit of a case of those entry level homes. Those prices might be playing catch up a little bit. And I will give one caveat. Whenever you are looking at closed prices, if somebody is giving you a statistic of home prices, that data is 4 to 6 weeks old automatically. It is not the most up-to-date data. It is at least a month old, and it's probably closer to 6 weeks old. Why is that? It's because it is reporting closed data. Now, if we take a look at our total monthly payment here, you can see that that's actually a great spot to be if you are a first-time home buyer. This is based on 5% down. It includes mortgage insurance, taxes, etc. And why is this kind of a really sort of a great time for you? Well, if you look at that blue line, it is considerably cheaper than it was a year ago. A year ago, you were almost $600 a month. In fact, you were about $600 a month more expensive. Now, even if you're in that condo category, you are also still cheaper, but look at that price rebounding. And I'm telling you, I think we are on the precipice of that spring run-up, and we're going to see that happen soon. If you look at our minimum household income required, I think this is really sort of the affordable figure that nobody is quoting. if we look at that 5% down payment, how much household income do you have to have as a minimum in order to qualify for these homes? Well, in our condo, it's just over $100,000, $101,649. And for a single family home, it is $144,156. So that really kind of puts that sense of affordability in perspective if you don't have a large down payment. If we look at our absorption rate, right? What is this measuring? The rate at which homes are going into escrow versus the rate at which they're coming onto the market. So a absorption rate of over 100% means more homes are leaving the market than coming in. And for this, you'll notice our entry-level home is at 74%. That's a little bit higher than where we were at last year on this graph. And what does that mean? It means for every 4 homes that come on the market, 3 homes are coming off. Now, you'll notice this number is almost always below 100%. The reality is homes leave the market for a variety of reasons other than going into escrow. So you'll almost never have that exceed 100% unless you're in a period of a market shortage where there's just nothing coming online. If you look at our condos, those really hit a bottom point, but they've rebounded as well. Not quite as well as the level that they were at last year, but definitely coming up. If you look at our total inventory, this is an interesting number because we see that entry-level condo figure is a bit higher than last year, but that entry-level single-family home level is just about the same as it was at last year. Now, I do think that the condo market is picking up and a lot of buyers are opting for that lower cost option because condos are fundamentally, if you look at our 14-day still active percentage, this is another way of sort of measuring demand level out there. And this one works the opposite of absorption rate. So a lower number means that the market is more competitive. And so you'll notice that our entry-level single-family home competition level is about the same as it was last year. Our condo level is a little less competitive, but both of these are heading in the downward direction. What does that mean? It means we are gearing up for a more competitive market for both of these categories. If we take a look at our week supply of homes, I think this is really the place that is telling you what's going on in the market. If you really wanted to look at this and you ask me, give me the market in a nutshell, what is the one slide you could show me that tells me what's going on in the market right now? It would actually be this one. And I want you to notice that blue line. Those entry-level single-family homes, our weeks of inventory has dropped below 8. This is less than it was at this point last year. Now, it's still a little bit above our low point last spring, which happened in March, and it was right about 7 weeks. What does 7.76 weeks supply mean? Well, what that means is if no new homes came on the market, how long would it take to exhaust our inventory of homes available? And the fact is it would take fewer than 8 weeks. That is really a strong showing. Being fewer than 8 weeks is stronger than we were at for most of the period of all of 2025. Now, if we look over at our condos, what do we see? Well, it is a bit less competitive than it was last year. The inventory situation is a bit better. So if you're shopping for a condo, last year at this time, you were facing just under 13 weeks of inventory. This year, you've got 17 weeks of inventory, right? That is a less competitive market. But I want to point something out is that 17-week number is still significantly better than most of the latter half of 2025. So I do think that condo market is starting to tighten. I don't know if you're going to see the kind of deals and leverage that you've been experiencing the last maybe 5 or 6 months in the market. I think some of that is going to tighten up, right? I think we're going to see that market gets tighter. I think if you're a first-time home buyer in this space, I don't really think there's anybody looking out for you. There's something about the real estate business, and we're going to do a separate video on this, so I promise there'll be a cool video where I explain this, of why first-time home buyers really kind of get the short end of the stick a lot of ways in the real estate market. And it's not just financially, right? It's in a lot of things. But I want to thank you for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, we love those. Don't hesitate to reach out. If you'd love to work with us, we would love to talk to you and show you how we can give you and lend you our expertise. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again real soon.